Hello everybody. Module E, CIS 118. Module E is dealing with analyzing data with a pivot table. Now we've done tables before, we've done charts before, but this is pivot tables. It's something a little bit new. So I'm going to take this data here, and I'm probably going to be able to, let's take all of it. So all of this data here, I want to use all of it into a pivot table, and by selecting everything I'm going to go to the Insert tab, then go to the Tables group, and I'm going to click on Pivot Table. Okay. Before I do that, I want you guys to understand that when you make a pivot table, and you'll understand this once you see this, and you'll know what I mean a little bit better, but when you make a pivot table, you really have to understand the difference between the rows and the columns as far as labels are concerned for what you're going to see. You also want to determine the purpose of what you want to actually show in your actual pivot table. So this is kind of planning the head of what you're going to be doing. You want to also determine which field contains the data that you want to summarize. So do you want to summarize, in this case, the ages? Do we want to summarize the number of games? Do we want to summarize the weight, the height, the salaries? What do we want to summarize? Okay. So, and you want to decide the arrangement and location. So location, I'm going to put it in a whole brand new worksheet. So when you click on that, you saw that this popped up, create pivot table, select the range. This is the whole range. Buffalo Bills roster is the sheet I'm on. A4 to N64. I'm going to say a new worksheet. That's perfectly fine with me, and click OK. So it says sheet 1. Now it doesn't look like I did very much of anything. It looks like I have a whole bunch of nothing. However, I do have a pivot table here. It is a blank pivot table. So we have to fill it. Pivot table tools. Brand new tabs. If I click off of this, they all disappear. Click inside the pivot table. Pivot table tools, tabs show up. Analyze and design. There's the two of them. Okay? So now when you do this, you also see something over here called the pivot table fields list. All right? This is something that you can actually close if you want to, and you can always put it back. So if I close this, for example, that right here, I don't know if you guys noticed, it used to be green. Okay? When you close this, it goes ungreen. So you turned it off, basically. That's in essence what you're doing. So go to the fields list, keep it on. I always keep it on whenever I'm doing any of the work. Okay? Other things that you're doing when you have this, I have a new sheet. That's great. I have nothing going on, so I have no data in here at all. So one thing you could do is, let's put the side of the ball in the filters. And now you see that we have something in here, side of ball. Either defense or offense or special teams, okay? Right now, everything, it says all is allowed. What I meant by rows and columns is you're actually literally creating a table, and you're going to, whatever you drag is going to make. So you're going to see exactly what you drag. So for example, if you wanted the, the ages of the players to be in the columns, now it comes across 20, 22, 23, 24, 25, 26, all the ages of all of the players. You also can move around and change, let's see, age, let's go to, the years. Let's go with years here in rows. So the years that the person has been playing. So you have years, 1 year, 2 year, 3 year, 4 year, 5 year, or rookie year, no years experience, okay? So 1 year experience means you're not a rookie. It's not your first year, right? So now, this changed all this data for us already, but I still have nothing in here because the rows are here, the columns are here. Great. Here's my row labels. Here's my column labels, the ages, right? But I have no values. Nothing is in here. So you could put almost anything. If you wanted to put height in here, it's just going to count how many heights you have. There's 20. It's just going to count this, by the way. There's a 20-year-old. He's a rookie. There's one person that has it. So there's one height that goes along with it. If that doesn't make sense, you could put other things in there that are actually values that you would want to do. Like, for example, salary. If I put the salary in here, now it makes sense. 20-year-olds, rookies, 480,000. 22-year-olds, rookies, 2.4 million. Okay, so it goes through and gives you grand totals all on the sides and the bottom. Okay, so again, as you drag and drop, things change. You could have subcategories too, by the way. So if this was underneath here, row 1 year experience, these are all the ages, these are all the salaries. What if I put the ages here and the year's experience across? Okay, so depending on where you drag and drop all these things, you could create almost anything, which is really quite nice, because trying to come up with a chart and you're not sure what it wants to look like could get kind of crazy, and this really helps a lot. So some features inside of here, as you guys can see, it says grand total here. Okay, so you could change these types of things to show when you do like a right click on this piece. You have options inside of here. Right down the middle, summarize values by. Right now it says sum. If I wanted, I could just count how many there are. There are 10 people with 1 year experience. Okay? So it says count. See? Count of salary rather than actually summing the salary. I could average the salary. This is the average salary of all of these people. And down here it says average of, just doesn't fit. Okay? But average of salary. Okay? Right click. Oops. Summarize values by maximum, minimum, product means multiply the salaries. Then, and you guys can see there are more options. That's kind of a ridiculous thing to do, but you can see there's also more options as well. Oh, more options off the page now, sorry. So average, sum, min, max, product, count, standard deviation, variance, things like that that we were talking about based on other previous videos. The last one actually that we had prior to this was standard deviation, variance, all those statistical pieces, right? So you can change whatever you want it to go to. We'll go back to sum. Okay. Based on these things, though, again, you have a lot of information going on, and you could virtually do anything. And while you're in here doing whatever you choose, you could sort within these pieces. So, for example, maybe you don't want all of the years or all of the people here. Say you only wanted, again, special teams maybe. Let's pick on that. Special teams only. That shrunk. You got 3 and 10 years of experience. There's this person here. There's these 2, 3, 4 people here. That's it. Rookies. Okay? That's it. Again, change this. Oh, by the way, did you notice that when I clicked off of this, you lost all of the field lists and you had no more tabs? That's because you're off the list, just like any other chart or table or anything. If you're not in it, you don't get the options. Once I click in it, now I get the options. Okay? So inside here, if I wanted this to be a count, okay? So go back to summarize, count. So I have 1 rookie at 22, 1 rookie at 24, total of 2 rookies, 1 person on special teams with 10 years experience, 1 person with 3 years experience. Okay? So that's all the information that you can get from here. Now, within that, like I said, you could have almost kind of like nested statements. Nested means something within something else. So let's say I wanted the height to be inside of here. So 22-year-olds that were 6 foot, 24-year-old was 5'11", 26-year-old was 6'11", or 6'1", sorry. 6'11" would be crazy, huh? Let's go to offense to see more people here. Okay, so 22-year-olds, you have a 5'9" and a 6'5". They're both rookies. Okay, 23-year-olds, 5'8", 6 foot, and 6'2". Well, there's 2 people that are 5'8". There's 1 person 6 foot, 1 person that is 6'2". Okay, so this is really kind of cool because it has a subcategory inside of another category: height and then age. All right, so if you flip-flop these, notice now this one right here, this is called the category, and these inner pieces, these things are called branches. Okay, so the category would be 22, or the category would be age. The branch would be the height. Okay, so if I switched them, switch the order of these. I put the age after the height. Now I have 5'10", I have a 24-year-old, 5'11", I have a 30-year-old, 5'8", I have a 23-year-old, okay? So you can sort all these things out based on all this information. Okay, again, however you choose to do so. And in doing this, again, you could choose whatever you want. It doesn't really matter what you're sorting by. Again, weight could come into something else here too. It doesn't really make much sense to go there, I suppose. But you could have a third category. Not only can you have the age, but you could have the heights, and then you could have the weights following that. So age, 23, height, 5'8". There's two people. One of them is 173, the other person's 178. Okay? So you could stack these as much as you want. Okay? Within reason, obviously. You don't want it to get too crazy. Then you could shrink these just as much as you did with sorting with subtotals. Same type of idea. Okay? If you want to see it, you can. If you don't, that's fine. Rather than deleting them. Does that make sense? Okay? So while you're going through this, again, you could change anything you want as far as is concerned. Notice how this says side of ball. It sees this little like filter is here, right? It looks like a funnel. It's being filtered because I'm no longer using all of them. I'm only using the offense at this point, okay? So again, if I want to have all of them, I click all of them and I see everything. Okay, so while we're talking about these things, column labels, row labels, these things can actually go. If you go in the Analyze tab, you can see these things. They're called field headers. Okay, right now they're on. Now they take them. When I click it, I turn it off, and they're gone. So what happens is column labels, row labels. Okay, I can sort these things from smallest to largest, largest to smallest. I can value the filters, equals, not equals to. Search and pick only certain ages, maybe 22 and 20-year-olds, right? Or I can clear the filter. So those things are in here. If you don't want that to be on, and basically the reason you would take them off is going to be if you actually produce this and you wanted to send this out to somebody else and you didn't really want them to mess with it. You could turn those off, again, by the Analyze tab, the Show group, turn off the field headers, and you can't make any changes like that anymore. Okay. Same thing with the field buttons list, the pluses, minuses. When they're there, they're you saw that with the. Let me do this here. I think it was height and then weight, right? So we have these little pluses, minuses here. You could turn those on and off if you choose. So now you no longer have an option to minimize those things. Okay. So that's what those are for: plus and minus buttons and field headers to turn on or off. Okay. Other things you can do inside of here are add slicers. Slicers are pretty cool. Slicers in the Analyze tab, you're going to go to the Filter group and click Insert Slicer. So what a slicer does is it asks you where do you want the slicer to be, and it'll eliminate certain pieces. So for example, if you want the age to be a slicer, click on Age, click OK, and right now you can see it's including everything. Okay. So I'm going to make this a little larger so I can see it more. And whatever I click, it's going to use. So if I only want 33-year-olds, 35-year-olds, okay, whatever I choose, I can have. Now, if I want more than one, I have to press Control and click. So Control, just like we select more than one cell at a time, I click this one and Control, and I click, oops, sorry. My mouse is being funny here, sorry. So I'm here and I click and Control and I click on this one. I selected those two different pieces. Well, if I want to be inside of here, I have 25-year-olds. I want to Control to 24, 28, and 29. Now it only shows 24, 25, 28, and 29-year-olds, which seems like it's actually a lot more people than we think on that team. So there's 28 people on the team that are either 24, 25, 28, or 29. Okay? You could add many slicers if you choose. So inside here, Analyze tab, Insert Slicer. We have age. I can also do years for years experience. And again, based on this, I have 24, 25, 28, 29 for all years experience. If I want only, say, 5 years experience, those 24 and 25-year-olds, they don't even count. So you can see that they're kind of muffled out a little bit. they're no longer there. But 5 years experience, 28